Hello everyone and welcome to today's class. Our title today is Fruitless Effort. Let's move on to language focus. 1번. If you want a very colorful drink with a very long name, the frozen mango dragon fruit lemonade Starbucks refreshers beverage looks hard to beat. Yes, that's quite a long name. Okay, so as we can see, I have highlighted hard to beat. Use the expression hard to beat to suggest something is a very strong competitor or an option. So I guess we could say it's very similar to an expression of like one of the best plus plus like a noun. So one of the best places in New York. 뉴욕 장소 중에 이곳이 뭐 너무 최고예요. It's like really, really good. Maybe not the best, but very close to the best. So like I'm trying to explain that like 이 주어는 the subject, 다른 곳이 비교하면 뭐 첫 번째 주어가 더 좋을 것 같다, 더 맛있다, 더 재밌다. 아마 세상에서 더 좋은 것, 맛있는 것 등등등 있을 수도 있지만 제가 뭐 해본 적이 없어요. 먹어본 적이 없어요. 뭐 가본 적이 없어요. But this is the way I think. Okay, so if we look at the examples, if you're looking for a city with nice weather, San Diego is hard to beat. Now, 날씨가 좋은 도시를 찾는다면 샌디에이고가 가장 좋은 곳 중 하나일 것이다. So, it may not be the best city in the world. 세상에서 뭐 가장 좋아하는 가장 좋은 한 날씨 도시 아니라 근데 제 알기로는 it's really difficult to say other countries are better or cities are better with their weather. Next example, if you're a pasta lover, my grandma's cooking is hard to beat. 파스타를 좋아하는 분이라면 우리 할머니 요리가 최고예요. Like, obviously, that's very subjective. Everyone's grandmother supposedly cooks very well. So that's from my point of view. So remember, it's kind of from your point of view. It's very subjective, but you're saying it's one of the best. 2번. If the first words in a beverage's name are frozen mango, for example, then shouldn't that beverage contain frozen mango? Okay, so shouldn't. We're going to use shouldn't. Use shouldn't to imply disapproval or dissatisfaction that some condition is not being met. Okay, so I don't want you to get confused between the other shouldn't. So let's look at something I prepared earlier. Okay, so shouldn't versus shouldn't. The yellow shouldn't is what we're going to learn today. The blue shouldn't is what you've probably learned in the past. So, just as a refresher, shouldn't. You can still do it, 할 수 있지만, 해도 되지만, but it is highly recommended that you don't. 안 하면 좋겠다. Okay, that's this version of shouldn't. Example, you shouldn't smoke. 담배를 피우면 안 돼. 피워도 되는데 안 피우면 더 좋겠다. That kind of shouldn't. Now, if we're talking about this shouldn't, the one we are learning today, it's 하지 말까? Like 약간 추천하는 의미다. So, you're kind of suggesting something indirectly. So 예를 들어서, well, like, shouldn't we help out? 우리가 도와줘야 하는 거 아니야? 안 할까? It's this kind of meaning. So if we look at our examples, shouldn't we all make more effort to help the less fortunate? 우리 모두 부름한 사람들을 돕기 위해 더 많은 노력을 해야 하지 않을까? So it's more of a suggestion rather than don't do. You will almost always see this version of shouldn't in the middle of a sentence, or at the start of a sentence, sorry. But sometimes it will be in the middle of a sentence as well. The next example, shouldn't parents teach their kids to behave politely in public? So, 부모님들은 아이들에게 공공장소에서 예의 바르게 행동하도록 가르쳐야 하지 않을까? So, this is more of a suggestion that parents should be doing this. Alright, now let's move on to the language focus quiz. 1번. If you want to have a good vacation, is hard to beat. Remember, a hard to beat was one of the best. So if I'm gonna be a little biased, I'll say, Australia is hard to beat. So 휴가를 잘 보내고 싶다면 호주가 가장 좋은 곳 중 하나다. So out of all the countries in the world, all the continents in the world, I recommend Australia. 2번. If you like food, is hard to beat. So as an example, let's say something simple like spicy food. If you like spicy food, then Thai food is hard to beat. 매운 음식을 좋아한다면 태국 음식이 가장 매운 음식 중 하나이다. So it's maybe not the most spicy food in the world, but it's definitely up there with other countries. 3번. Shouldn't we all try harder too? So remember, we weren't talking about our first shouldn't. 뭐 해도 되지만 안 하면 좋겠다. We were talking about 하지 않을까? More of a suggestion. So, shouldn't we all try harder to, let's say, save the planet? So, 우리 모두 지구를 구하기 위해 더 노력해야 하지 않을까? Is what I would say. Shouldn't somebody do something to solve the problem of, the rat infestation? So, 누군가 쥐가 창궐하는 문제를 해결하기 위해 무언가를 해야 하지 않을까요? So, there's a rat infestation, meaning there are many rats. Shouldn't someone fix that? Okay, so now let's move on to the further discussion. If you had been purchasing a beverage that you believe contained a specific fruit, example, mango or passion fruit, for a long time, and then you found out it didn't really contain fruit, would this make you angry? Why or why not? 만약에 여러분이 특정 과일, 예를 들어 망고나 passion fruit, 이 들어있다고 생각되는 음료를 오랫동안 구매하고 있었는데 그 음료에 실제로 그 과일이 들어있지 않는다는 것을 알게 되다면 이것이 여러분을 화나게 할 수인가? 왜 그렇지 않을까? I don't think I'd be too upset, to be honest with you. I'd be more upset if I was drinking something that I purposely wanted the nutrients out of, right? So if I was drinking a protein shake and there was no protein in it, that would make me angry. But to be honest with you, a lot of the fruity tasting drinks have very minimal amounts of that in their drinks. So it wouldn't bother me too much, I don't think. 2번. If you're in charge of product development at Starbucks, what new beverages or food items would you introduce? So, 스타벅스에서 상품 개발을 담당한다면 어떤 새로운 음료나 식품을 소개해 보시겠습니까? Good question, because I go to Starbucks quite frequently because as a freelancer, I need somewhere to work and, also get some lunch. I would try and get more healthier options in there. I don't really like their salads. Their sandwiches are great, but they're all full of just very bad fats and high in calories. They do have the options of yogurt, but yeah, probably something on the more healthy side rather than what is available at the moment. Anyway, that wraps up for today's class, and I'll see you on the next class.
Vibrant.
Vibrant.
Word.
Word.
Simulate.
Simulate.
Pass something off as something.
Pass something off as something.
Sinister.
Sinister.
Principle.
Principle.